One said advanced political organizational theory didn't enter the south of Egypt for centuries. This cruel civilization came from the south, easy birthplace, Kemet and Nubia in the same sense. A new site evidence that came before Kemet to honor kings and God with spiritual inscriptions. Came from Ethiopia, not the Egyptians. So please listen to Kemet's logical revision. A land seeker truth before the final decision. Kemet knew. Let's believe that. Give it new. Let's believe that. Land of the black people. Now throw your hands in the air and wave them like you just don't care. And if you know low G's in the house tonight, somebody say no doubt. No doubt. Yeah. We trying to maintain, build with me, build with me. Azania, Low-T-I-C, Bambada. Check this out. At this point, let's explore the Ethiopians. Humans gotten home where civilization first began to last never ends. Let's listen and comprehend. A mafia knew who migrated into Kemet knew. A civilization based on spiritual innovation. A quest for supreme knowledge through bondage, not separated as a European hostage. If find God's word with this capitalist appeal, your spirit becomes invisible and not visual. Your mind now is physical, which is typical, keeping you from being God's chosen original. Making euros, zeros, cause they kill for Joe. Now knowing the importance of history takes away your base, so your future is a mystery. The song is deep, but then again, elementary. Cause I've only touched the black man's history for centuries. Y'all was wrong and denial, but now we land seek the real truth about the now. The contributions made by this civilization to bring worldwide appreciation for God's creation. Him and knew the foundation. Sound man. For this next song, we're gonna do it without the music. The music's not working with us right now. So I'm gonna go and kick some rhymes off the top of the dome for the people out here today. This next song is called Land Seeker. Land seeker, revolutionary speaker, conscious believer, lyrical achiever. In a cipher, I put skills on a how I meter and make the dopest MC play the retreater. In all titles, I play the receiver. Now it's time to analogy, I seize demeanor. Step in the arena and get you out of turn. Plus it's hard for you to even try to earn mediocre concern because material is your sperm. So while you try me, a land seeker of reality, find the facts to formulate the common truth. Like the Orthodox brings true form seeds with no roots, and all sisters still walking around in those dukes. Brown skin fig will be the next loop. A special dedication on female preservation for all brown skin figures pacing this nation. Hold it down, guard and short the population plus the head of this administration. The mental trinity and the four-corner theory, delivering dialects of logiazi for eternity. Pete, how many Africans are scattered on the map? Best lines Tupac wrote, they got it trapped. When MCs stand traumatized from lines, memorize the freestyle, rhymes would exceed third eyes. Spark them like a match and draw fire like a gat. If the government could tax rhymes, I would get much back. Land seeker, educated, clearly articulated, plus dedicated. Set the unified, but divide what the government may try or feel to be equal. But I land seek for my people. Why culture, genocide, rest, and our lives. Always equitable, but seems unforgivable. While the rich stay honorable, I take vitamins and minerals. Thoughts stay plentiful, hardcore. Meaningful righteousness is preferable, but seems unattainable because we don't think spiritual. Instead, we use material to solve the scenario. Brought to destroy and separate, but it's not too late for a godly state. Just learn from your mistakes and expose those revolutionary fakes. Skills are legendary like the great Sphinx, infinite respect. Dialects of logic is the apex of hip-hop. The final frontier is here, with Land Seeker. The classic of the year, y'all, ain't got head wrecks. With no GIC directs, those lost in weed smoke with no mental hope. Fall short when lyrics choke like strep throat. This lyrical host descended from no coast. But I give insight when I grab a mic, destroying pork chops and seeds with no destiny. I recommend the focus be on skills, not record deals. While you overwhelmed with material thrills, DOL seeks to break the rap weak mistakes. It's hot, they like soul, give you reasons why. So understand the blessing of the Land Seeker session. Meridian's connection, hip-hop, resurrection. I dialects of low GIC's verbal lessons. Yeah, it was kind of kind of weird not doing without the music. But if you peep the lyrics out, you can see the conscious state of mind I'm in right now. All right, chill. Thank you. Everybody saying something to Rick B. Give it up for the brother. All right. John Logic. All right, Africa. I know he kicked off his conscious rap. Your mind's probably open now. You ready for some hard knowledge? Get your notepads out. Then bring up a sister from the PAC. Our sister Victoria Machar Makula, better known to some of us as Auntie Vicky. She's the former coordinator of the Women's Affairs of the former coordinator of the Women's Affairs of the External Wing of the PAC. Represented the PAC women at the UN World Conference in 1980. Organized lectures in the U.S., Canada, Germany, Denmark, regarding the plight of women during the liberation struggle in Tanzania, South Africa. All right now, my brothers and sisters, I need you to listen. We all need you to listen. Here comes our sister, Auntie Vicky. Give it up! Give us a love! Come to the forefront! All right! PAC! 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 Long live PAC! PAC! Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Isoletu, in Africa! Isoletu, in Africa! Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank all the organizers, especially of APRP, for having invited the PAC to this 39th anniversary of Africa Liberation Day. With the PAC right now, the position at home, as I said, the Youth League of the ANC, which were the very first sparking the revolution of the historical advancement and everything from Sharpeville to Soweto, they are still there struggling. Sometimes you listen to people and people think that, well, if we get the carrots, that's enough. The present government there right now, people are not yet free because it's interim government. What you saw on TV is just to feed you, to lull you, to make you sleep. Put you to sleep and think that we are free, we are not yet free. 1999 is the time of decisions for who is going to be really looking at the aspirations of the people of South Africa and of Africa in large. The PAC is well and alive, but at the same time, they are having problems because in South Africa there's transformation. Right now, de Klerk is no longer with Mandela. They are no longer together, although they received the Nobel Peace Prize together. They are not in good terms, and other forces are coming out inside the country. It's very difficult even for other organizations to organize inside the country. There's a lot of crime going on in South Africa because people only got what they call physical freedom. No political power and no economic power. You cannot be free when you don't have the land. The land question is very crucial because if you own the land, then you control the minerals which are under that land. But if you don't have the land, you'll be left sitting again in those Bantustans. People are still living the way they were living, if not worse, except a few elite. What you see on TV, they'll show you the beautiful highways of Tanzania, South Africa. They'll show you all the nice sceneries, especially when it comes to tourism. But if you go to the townships, the living is still worse. As for the youth at the present moment, people are restless because of what is happening on the ground in South Africa. And this is why you see every now and again, there's a leader from
one of the 7 colonizers, ex-colonizers of Africa, going to South Africa, because they want to use South Africa as a springboard for recolonization of Africa. You have to be very careful. Don't go according to that media. In fact, what the media is saying today is that don't tell people about the suffering in Africa. Tell them only about the good things. They are warning their journalists in this country. Whatever you report about the good things, so that these people in the America, the Africans in the diaspora, and the progressive people from all over the world should not know that children are studying in South Africa. Because then people will not bring in money to invest in South Africa. Right now, nobody wants to go and invest in South Africa because the crime rate is so high that even if you live in a hotel, you need an escort to just go out shopping. So really in South Africa, things are not as good as you think. But I'm just happy that what happened after South Africa, what is happening today in the Congo will happen in South Africa. The Congo today, South Tanzania tomorrow. That name, you have to clear it off your mind. If you are a wise person, that you have to forget about all the bad things which happened to you. You have to change the thinking of the people inside the country. The children are working very hard, trying to learn, but there are no books, there's nothing. The elite are the ones who are having a good time in South Africa. The women are working very hard in terms of housing itself, in terms of, instead of sitting home, they build in a group situation. There might be 5 who are women who are single parents. Each one of them, they form in blocks and they build one house with 3 rooms and somebody's house again with 3 rooms, and it's catching up in the country. But in other areas, because of South Africa, like in the Cape, these developers started hiring the thugs to start killing the women for building their own housing. So the reality is that it's not free. We are not yet free. Not yet Uhuru. You get it out of your mind. They still need your support. You need to work together. Africans in diaspora, every time when I was moving inside Tanzania, all people are asking, where are our people in the diaspora? When are they going to come? We need your help. We don't need not only monetary, very little, but the physical, helping out with the women in the communities to teach the children and to build a better Tanzania for the future. We are still going to need you. We can have partnership with any progressive group in terms of any other businesses you want to go into, because those governments and other governments are not going to allow you to be there. They don't want you to be there, but you should keep on coming. Raise funds, move around, and send your people in to come and help, so that we can build that strength of working together. I hope one day we'll have a congress of the APRP in Tanzania itself. Thank you very much.
You have got the identity of an African. mission to struggle for liberating Africa and all oppressed people around the world. We want to make an announcement that restroom privileges will be at Richie's. So thank you, brothers and sisters. It's free Africa. All right, thank you, Africans. All right, we have another organization here that want to share with us. The CPI, Committee on Filipino Issues, is an organization composed of Filipinos and non-Filipinos who are here to anti-imperialist unity and defend the democratic rights of Filipinos in the U.S. One of its most important tasks is to form the broadest anti-imperialist and anti-interventionist solidarity movement to help stop foreign interference and for the national liberation of the homeland. They have a second organization, Gabriela, is a women's organization in the Philippines and in the U.S., whose mission is for national liberation of the Filipinos and will go hand in hand with the liberation of oppressed and exploited women, mainly the workers and the peasant women. At this time, I'd like to introduce all three speakers. African! I want to share some language. I want to see you coming to the forefront. We got three speakers for you here. Benji, Megan, and Eugene. I want you guys to listen up.
Long live solidarity! In behalf of the nationalist feminist movement in the Philippines, in the name of Gabriela, General Assembly of Women Binding for Reform, Integrity, Equality, Leadership and Action in Chicago, we are privileged in joining this meaningful activity to share our struggle and strengthen our unity to fight for justice, freedom and democracy against imperialism in general. Our forms of violence in particular, indiscrimination, exploitation, oppression because of race, class and gender. Women's struggle and empowerment is not only women's issues and responsibilities, but it is also responsibility of all individuals, men and women, of all organizations.
About Philippine history. Just a little story, not a lot of detail, but just to give you a little flavor. Because I know that I didn't learn that history in my textbooks growing up in this country, and I had to go to my people to learn it, to teach it to me. So I would like to share a little bit of that, and hopefully we can share some solidarity on that. Then Eugene will carry on. Did you know that for 350 years, the Philippines was a direct colony of Spain and the United States? Spain owned the Philippines for 300 years. 300 years of colonial slavery. 300 years. At the end of that period, the Filipinos were already mobilizing to struggle against the Spanish. They were starting their own revolution and they were successful. And finally, in 1898, and I think that's going to be almost 100 years ago next year, in 1898, the Filipinos declared the Philippine nation on June 12th. And we're going to be celebrating that anniversary soon. But, that's right, give it up. But, that newly born revolutionary struggle, it was cut short. It was cut short by U.S. colonialism. Spain just up and sold the Philippines as war debt. So-called war debt from the Spanish-American War to the U.S. They sold our land out from under us. Well, they stole it in the first place. Then they sold it, and they sold our people. But not without resistance. Not without resistance. Hundreds of thousands of Filipinos died in what's often called the First Vietnam. Because the Filipinos fought and struggled until their main leader was captured. And then they took the struggle to the countryside. And they continued to struggle in the countryside. That is something we're never told. I was never told in U.S. history. Magellan. And, you know, if I had had my history at that time, I would have jumped out of my skin and said, right on, you know, do it again if you could. Bring it back and do it again. But I guess I just want to say, I want to close with, what does this mean to me? What does this mean to me as a Filipina, struggling to come to consciousness and struggling with others as they come to consciousness? And I think of the words of Amilcar Cabral, who said that it was the white man who took us out of history, and we aim to place ourselves back in it.